Well, the economic responses have been patchy and not the same in every part of the world. And the primary reason being that every part of the world does not have the same resources to spare to fight what we call the most pressing challenge of humanity, climate change. But while resources may be a constraint, our intent should not be. So if we all come together and decide to do what is needed to be done, I'm sure resources will start flowing into different parts of the world so that everybody can do what they need to do. I think everybody needs to take responsibility in terms of whatever we can do within our own domain. But to get into specifics, the countries that have had a historical responsibility for emitting the kind of emissions that we see now, which has resulted in 422 parts per million carbon concentration in the atmosphere, so they bear a greater responsibility to not just provide the resources, but also work together, because it's not just money, it's about intent, it's about technology, it's about building virtuous partnerships. So I think we have to deal with this challenge in a spirit of partnership, in a spirit of togetherness, and that's something that will really help save the day. As I was speaking earlier today, with great wealth comes great responsibility. And then Dubai is strategically placed, not just in terms of wealth and willingness to do what is needed, but also in terms of a very fostering ecosystem of innovators, startups, and ideas that can actually play a huge role, not just in the region, but also globally. As has been popularly said, almost half of humanity is within few hours of flying distance from Dubai. Whether you talk about China, whether you talk about India, Indonesia, and all these countries that actually need to act. As much as the West needs to act, the East needs to act as well. And so that's why this is, I hope, become the nerve center of climate action around the world. I think the biggest thing that public-private partnerships do in this context is manage the risk much more effectively. Because a lot of investments into nature-based solutions require longer-term investments with not the traditional returns that investors expect, which I would call outsized returns in the context of dealing with the humongous problems. But it still gets you meaningful returns, if not outsized ones. So once we decide that, okay, the future of the planet is important, the future of humanity is important, and we are still not losing our money, but still making reasonable returns, then I think we can do a lot more, So the unrealistic expectation of returns need to make way for a more sustainable understanding of economics and ecosystems and the interplay between the two of them.